Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 15, Section 5, the last of Chapter 15. I'll probably give you a day or so tomorrow to make up. We had a busy week between homeworks for Section 3, 4, 5, plus a quiz. So for next week, we'll probably do a review of Gettysburg Monday, kind of get into Tuesday, a review, Wednesday, Thursday, your test, and then I'll finish up Chapter 15. And we'll get into more details of that stuff next week. I'll post messages in the classroom and explain to you what's going on. So what I want to focus on today is really just the end of the Civil War. How did it come to an end? I would have spent more time in the classroom, kind of diving into some stuff if we had, obviously, classroom together. But we don't. We're making the best of it. So let me kind of explain. All right. One of the things that's going to happen is by 1863, the North is going to start swinging momentum a little bit towards them. All right. They win the Battle of Antietam, which is going to be a massive battle, deadly, ridiculously deadly battle. Okay. Um, but it's a big Northern victory, huge Northern victory. Chancellorsville. All right. It turns out to be a Southern victory, but it's devastating for the North somewhere else. I'm going to get to this, but I want to focus on number 2 and 4. All right. We talked in the beginning about President Lincoln not having a number one commanding general. He has General Grant out in the West. In the East Coast, he's going through General McClellan, General Meade, General Burnside, General Joseph Hooker. Okay. He doesn't really have a commanding general yet until we get to Grant when he gives Grant complete control. I want to talk about the Battle of Chancellorsville for a second. I think a very important part of the war. At the Battle of Chancellorsville, the South will win, but General Stonewall Jackson or Thomas Jackson, the Southern number 2 general under Lee, dies. He's actually accidentally killed by his own people while returning from surveying the battlefield. And it is a massive blow to Lee. All right. He actually is stated as saying it's like losing his right arm. All right. And this is going to be a huge blow to the South, especially for 1863, because for the first time, the South is going to invade the North. Remember, 95% of the fighting takes place in the South. Okay? By 1863, specifically in July of 63, General Lee will actually start heading towards the north. All right, and I'll explain why in the map, but he's going to eventually settle on the town of Gettysburg, which we're going to spend some time on. All right, here are some generals. All right, General McClellan, General Burnside, General Hooker. All right, these are all Northern commanding generals that Lincoln will use, and they're very smart men and they're good military guys, but they can't match Lee. All right, remember the South had the better military leaders. All right, so Gettysburg is going to be a big victory. After that, Lee puts Grant in charge, and that changes the outcome of the war. This is General Thomas Jackson. All right, who is General Lee's right hand man. He's a 3-star general of the South who actually is killed by his own men by accident. Okay, this is right on the verge of the South invading Pennsylvania and bringing the war north for a little bit. And unfortunately, the South will lose Jackson. Again, let's look at the map. All right, Grant's out here. He's over here. So Grant's winning the West. Okay. All right. Chattanooga, Shiloh, Donelson, Henry, Vicksburg, Memphis. This is all General Grant. But over here, Lee is winning all of this. All right. Until eventually he brings the war north to Pennsylvania. Okay. Let's get into that. The Battle of Gettysburg is the turning point of the American Civil War. That is 100% unequivocally on your test and your final exam. It is the deadliest battle of the Civil War in terms of manpower. 28,000 Northerners would die, 23,000 Southerners would die. That's not even including the people wounded. It is just an absolute bloodbath. 51,000 people over 3 days. Lee wanted to bring the war to the North. He wanted to get it out of the South. He wanted to get an opportunity to give the South a little bit of a break. And I'll show you a map, I believe, on the next slide. If you win Gettysburg, you kind of have a way into Washington, D.C. and get Lincoln out of the capital. Now, Gettysburg was not a planned battle. All right, Gettysburg, actually, true story, there was a supply of shoes there. Okay, and General Lee needed shoes for his military. He ordered a couple of regiments to go into to town, be friendly, take those shoes, and return back. What they didn't realize was, and there's a lot of reasons for this, again, I'm not going to dive too much into it, was the Northern Army was right behind them, and it just happened to be Gettysburg would be the place. Turning point of the war, the North will win. Shortly after that, the same day, General Grant will win the Battle of Vicksburg, which gives the North the control of the Mississippi River. So think about a bad day. July 3rd, 1863, the South loses Gettysburg. They have to retreat back to the South. They lose the Mississippi River, and General Grant's now in charge. Okay, after Gettysburg, the end is near. Another year, the war is going to be over. One of General Grant's tactics given to him by General Sherman is going to be this concept of total war. All right, all that attacks. You destroy everything, not just battlefields, towns, farms, enemy resources, cotton fields, farming. You burn it to the ground. All right, and the goal of this, and it's very controversial, all right, is to break the back of your enemy. All right, think about this. 1864 hits. Grant's in charge. The North has the Mississippi. The South has been pushed back out of the North, back into the South. All right, and General Sherman is doing his famous March to the Sea. All right, where he's literally marching from Atlanta to the Atlantic Ocean, burning everything in his path. And I'm going to show you some pictures of this. So let's talk about this. All right, General Grant's winning this. Here's Vicksburg. Okay, Vicksburg's right here. All right, Grant will win Vicksburg and give the North control of the Mississippi, which basically splits the South in half. The same time, all right, General Meade in the North beats Lee and forces the South back into the South from Gettysburg. And you basically have the North pushing back from here, General Grant pushing from here. Okay? These are actual pictures of Gettysburg. All right, this is in the presentation. These are dead soldiers. Okay, after Gettysburg, this is known as Devil's Den. I'll let the pictures speak for themselves. Again, you've seen this map. And here we get to Grant. General Grant is going to be given the title of Lieutenant General of the United States Army. The only other person to hold that title, was General Washington, who went on to become President Washington. General Grant is going to become President Grant in 1868. He becomes the 18th president. So this is going to be the general, all right, that Lincoln needs. This will be the guy who chases General Lee to surrender. General Grant realizes that the South is on borrowed time. They're out of the North. They lost Gettysburg. They've lost the Mississippi. The Navy is blocking supplies from the ocean. He just has to keep applying pressure, and the war would come to an end. Okay, and that's ultimately what happens. All right, in April of 1865, April 9th, General Lee realizes he has no other options. He's got no supplies. His food is starving. The land is destroyed. His army is split in half. He has to surrender. And he will do so at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9th of 1865. That's going to be on your test. Look at the toll. Excuse me, 260,000 Southern soldiers dead, 360,000 Northerners dead. The country is reunited. Slavery is ended. 1865 is here. It's April. The war is over. The rebels are Americans again. And honestly, guys, and this is how we kickstarts 8th grade. Now the hard part starts. How do you rebuild the nation? Okay, and that's actually going to be chapter 16. So for those of you who actually have me in 8th grade, all right, I hope it's all of you. All right, I'd love to see you again next year, obviously. We start the year, we do rules and objectives, and how is your summer, and we get the formalities done, contracts, and then we do SMART goals and portfolios. I get you signed up for Google, and then obviously we get right into we review chapter 15. We're going to go over this again next year because again, between now and September is a long time. I refresh your memory on this, and then we get into the first chapter of 16, which is Reconstruction. All right. This building right here is Appomattox Courthouse. This is where the North and the South will meet. General Lee, General Grant. Grant will surrender. Famous photo is General Lee, Southern Army, surrendering to General Grant, and the war will come to an end. And this is the room. That's the desk. That's the table. Okay, General Grant's clerk will sit here. He will write the terms of the unconditional surrender. They will sit at this table here. They will sign the surrender, and the war is over. General Lee will get on his horse. He will ride back to Virginia. And I don't know if I get into that. Oh, yeah, here he is. He will ride home. Now, this is his home. Okay, if you remember, think back into the beginning of chapter 15. General Lee was offered command of the Northern Army by President Lincoln. He rejected it. Okay, he wasn't going to lead the army against the state of Virginia. So here is his home. This is Arlington. It's a beautiful house. President Lincoln took his house and turned it into a cemetery. Okay, if you go to Arlington National Cemetery today, okay, this is General Lee's house on the grounds of the cemetery. President Lincoln turned it into a New York State. I'm sorry, a United States military cemetery. That's looking from his front lawn. Okay, so obviously Lee doesn't return home to his house. He returns back into Virginia. He builds a new house, and he will live into the 1870s. Okay, it's still being occupied and used today. Results: slavery is abolished. The federal government is now nationally in charge. Thousands of people die. The northern economy is absolutely making a fortune. The southern economy is destroyed, and the Union is reunited. Look at the death tolls. 620,000 Americans will die. That is 215,000 more than World War II. It's more than almost all of these combined. Deadliest battles: okay, Vicksburg 19,000, Antietam 22,000, Shiloh 23,000, Chancellorsville 24, look at Gettysburg, 51,000 deaths. That's insane. Okay. Deaths by state: southern states lost the most. Total casualties, okay, right here. Total troops 1.5 million. Confederate troops 1 million. All right, died of their wounds 110,000. Wounded 270. You can read this on your own, which is insane. Okay, so everything that we talked about, causes of the war. We've been in chapter 14 and 15 a while now, guys. Causes of the war. Excuse me. The Why did we fight? We've been talking about this since chapter 11. North and South take different paths. So the war itself ends in this room. They sign the peace deal. The country is reunited, and now it has to be rebuilt, which is incredibly difficult. And that's chapter 16. So take a look at this. Read your notes. Read the worksheets. Do the homework on the Google Docs. Submit it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Take care, guys.